Okay, this is 4.5, graphing using the slope-intercept form. You should recognize the slope-intercept form, and it is just like how we had function form, it's a different way to show an equation. This is your slope-intercept form. It is always y equals mx plus b, always. Notice this is in function form because y is by itself. Now, x and y are the coordinates, the x and the y that we've always been talking about. And the other day we talked about what m is, and m is slope. It's still the same thing here, where you take slope times the x, and then we add this b. Now, we're going to talk about b a little bit more today, but b is the value that is the y-intercept. And we've practiced how to find that y-intercept, but it is specifically the y-intercept, and we'll talk a little bit more about why. Parallel, you guys know what parallel lines mean. It means that there's two lines that never ever intersect. Now, here's something you may not know, is that two parallel lines will always, always, always have the exact same slope, where the value of m in the slope-intercept form will be the exact same value. Now, the slope-intercept form again, this is y equals m, where remember what I said m was the value of? It is always slope. You will have a number here in that spot for m. B is the y-intercept, and it is specifically the y-intercept. Make sure you don't confuse it for the x. But B is that y-intercept, and that will be a number as well. So you'll have y equals something times x plus something. And the value multiplied by x is the slope. The value added at the end of the problem is the y-intercept. So let's take a look. Now, an equation that is in slope-intercept form, so slope-intercept form where m is the slope, b is the y-intercept, this is an equation that's in slope-intercept form. Let's identify what m is and what b is. In the equation, the slope is the number being multiplied by the x, so here the slope is 2. The y-intercept is the number being added to the equation or subtracted, and in this case it is 1. Now, that means we have enough information to draw our graph. So if we are going to take a look at this graph, notice that our y-intercept is on the y-axis at 1, and our slope is 2, but we like slope to be rise over run, so that could also be 2 over 1. Well, look where they did to the point. They went up 2 and over 1 to get the next point, and then we create our line. That's what you guys are going to do today, is you're going to use the slope-intercept form to draw the graph. Let's take a look at our next example. So we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept of the line with the given equation, but it's got to be in slope-intercept form for that to work. Example A, y equals x plus 3 is in slope-intercept form. Now, as they've given you, the number being multiplied by x, well, there is no number, but we always know that the number 1 is there. So our slope in this case is 1. Our y-intercept is a number that's always being added, and what's being added is 3. So there you go, identifying slope and y-intercept. You just need to say m equals this, b equals this. Example B, though, if you look at that equation, negative 2x plus y equals 5, that's not in slope-intercept form yet. You guys know how to get y by itself. We have negative 2x plus y equals 5, and if I need to get y by itself, I'm going to add 2x to both sides. I have y by itself now, and I can't add 5 and 2x. And instead of writing it as 5 plus 2x, I'm going to try to stick to slope-intercept form, where my something times x is first, and then my y-intercept. I know that the 5 is positive because there's no sign in front of it, and I know that the 2x is positive because I was adding it. Now that it's in slope-intercept form, now it's easier to identify our slope and our y-intercept. Our slope is 2 because that's a number being multiplied by x, and our y-intercept is 5. There are your answers. Move on. Happy day. So, taking a look at our checkpoints. Checkpoint number 1 is in slope-intercept form. Checkpoint number 2, not exactly. But I want to go over checkpoint number 3 because this one gets a little interesting. The y isn't by itself yet because you have 4 times the y. So to undo that, we divide by 4. But remember, you divide this whole side by 4 as well. And you get y by itself. Well, when I try to do 3x divided by 4, that's not going to be pretty. That's actually 3/4 x plus, and then I do my other heart, 4. Now I've got a value times x. So I got my 3 divided by 4. I left it as the fraction 3/4 times x. So my slope is 3/4. My y-intercept is 4. I guess I should also mention in example 1, the checkpoint over here, I know I'm going to go a bit backwards. I know it's in slope-intercept form, so the slope is really easy, but take a look at the y-intercept because do you notice that you're subtracting 1? That actually means that your y-intercept is at -1. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So if I change this equation to adding, it means that I'm adding -1. So really watch out for your signs there. But there is identifying slope and y-intercept from slope-intercept form. Now, if we have to graph it, here's how we're going to do that. We're going to graph it by first identifying the slope and y-intercept, but to do that, we need this equation to be in slope-intercept form. So to do that, we'd subtract 4x from both sides, and y equals, I'm going to put the x term first, -4x plus 2. That means my m is -4, my b is 2. That means my b, my y-intercept, is the ordered pair 0, 2. That's actually the first thing we plot. Plot the intercept first. So that is the very first thing we do. Plot that intercept point. So take a look at my graph. First thing I'm going to do is plot my intercept point at 0, 2. Now the next thing I do, I have 1 point. To get my next point, I count the slope. But my slope is a whole number. I need a rise and a run value. So to do that, I'm going to take my -4 and put it over 1. That means my rise is -4. So I'm going to go down 4, but my run is 1. And here's my next point. I would do at least 3 points, possibly 4 if you can. I know that I'm going to go off my graph, but I can kind of give a good estimate. Now, if I were to go up 4 to match my line, I would go +4, but to make it a negative value, I'd have to go backwards 1. And look, I've got a nice, beautiful straight line, which I would draw if I had a straight edge to use on the smartboard. And that is our line. We plotted the y-intercept first, and then from our y-intercept, you count the slope. Plot the y-intercept first, and then count the slope. So let's do that again. If you don't need it, fast forward. I'm going to get y by itself by adding 1/2 x to both sides. And my y-intercept form is y equals 1/2 x plus 1. That means my slope is 1/2. My y-intercept is 1. And remember, the first thing we do is plot our y-intercept. I'm going to go to my y-axis, plot my y-intercept. The next thing I'm going to do is count my slope and do it a couple times. So, and repeat. So if my slope is 1/2, that means I go up 1 over 2, plot my point. Up 1 over 2, plot my point. If you want to get more on the other side, on the second and third quadrant, you can go down 1, -1, but then you've got to go -2. Notice I keep to my straight line. Beautiful. Remember, we always draw our lines with a straight edge. We always go all the way through the graph, and we always put arrows at the end of our graph. Okay, knowing which lines are parallel, you remember what I said about having parallel lines? Means they have the exact same slope. So if you were looking at our pictures, we've got line A, line B, line C. We need to find out which ones have the same slope. Even though I know you can look at the picture and tell which ones are parallel, let's prove it. Line A, let's find the slope. Well, here's a point on line A. Here's a second point on line A, and to find the slope, let's just count. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our rise is 6. Our run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our run is 6. So our slope is 1. 6 over 6, equals 1. Now, let's find the slope of B. From this point to this point, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A rise of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A run of 6. Look, those have the exact same slope. So line A and line B have the same slope. Therefore, they are parallel. Let's prove that C is not included in this because you will have a different slope here. So we'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This has a rise of 7 and a run 6, 7, 8, 9, a run of 9. And the fraction 7/9 would just be that. That is not the same fraction, so that line is not parallel to anything else. Lines that have the same slope are parallel. So if you're given 2 points, remember how we find slope of 2 points? We subtract our y's, 5 minus 2 from line A, over 2 minus negative 2. I did x and y, used my formula. 3/4. Line B, I'd take my y, subtract my y's, subtract my x's, and you get 5/7. Those are not the same slope, so I know that line A and line B are not parallel. Let's check out line C. Subtract my y's, subtract my x's. I get 3/4. That means that line A and line C are parallel, and the symbol for things being parallel is just that. It's 2 straight lines like the 2 L's in parallel. 2 L's in parallel, that is the symbol for parallel lines. So instead of writing the sentence, line A is parallel to line C, you can just write that symbol. And that is it, folks. This is what your homework assignment will be. And I do not think I shortened that at all. Well, enjoy. Good luck.